back here in Indy for the NFL Scouting Combine as we see the cornerbacks and the tight ends are going to be working out here. We'll keep you updated on the results that are happening behind us on the field. And Adam Schefter in with us here. Adam, the running back position absolutely loaded when it comes to free agents. Remind us just how many big-time veterans could be available as we look toward free agency.
Well, I think the biggest name will be Saquon Barkley. And the question will be whether the Giants tag him or not. The people around the league don't expect that that's going to happen. They think that Saquon Barkley will be allowed to test the market. The only thing that could somehow change that would be if the Giants felt like he meant so much to the franchise. John Mara loves him that they decided to place the tag on him. But again, I think most people around the league consider that unlikely at this point in time. The Las Vegas Raiders also are not expected to tag their former franchise running back, Josh Jacobs. He is expected to become a free agent for certain, and that franchise tag number for him will be over $14 million. They would like to bring him back. They'd like to work to re-sign him, but Josh Jacobs is going to get a chance to test the free agent market. And when we talk about the free agent running back market, it's all about supply and demand. And the supply of running backs in the free agent market this year is vast. Take a look at some of the names: Barkley, Jacobs, Derrick Henry, Tony Pollard, Austin Eckler, DeAndre Swift, and it doesn't stop there. There are others, J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. There are all sorts of free agent running backs out there like Zach Moss. And so when you're talking about a draft also with a lot of good running backs, there aren't going to be a lot of running backs who are fortunate enough to cash in. Some will get paid, but more will be disappointed about what they're paid just because of the laws of supply and demand.
Yeah, I mean, the theme continues where the running back position may not have the value that it once did. But if you look at some teams' options in the draft, you mentioned it, potentially, you could look back at last year. The running back class was stronger than possibly. Last season, we saw both Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs going in the first round. Bijan dynamic already for Atlanta, and the Lions have been proven right for taking Gibbs where they did. And so if you look at this draft and if you look at free agency, Lewis, if you're a team in need of a running back, are you looking at free agency or are you looking at the draft?
I'm only looking at free agency if I can get a running back at my price because of the supply and demand equation. And honestly, look, there was only one running back on that first graphic that we had that was 30 and over, and that was Derrick Henry. Every other guy right now is being allowed to hit the free agent market. So what does that tell you as to the mindset of general managers? They're saying this: number one, we know you. We know how good you are, and we still aren't willing to commit to you right now to a big-time contract, and we for sure aren't going to franchise you because they know that what the history is at the position. Despite the fact that these guys don't have a significant amount of tread on their tires, they're still not willing to go ahead and extend themselves, and they figure this: we can always find value at running back. We don't have to have Jahmyr Gibbs. We don't have to have Bijan Robinson. Just remember, and I know everyone's going to point to this, and some people will say this is an outlier, but the Kansas City Chiefs drafted Isaiah Pacheco in the 7th round.
Right.
And that right there is going to always work against running backs. It always is.
Yeah, and I think to your point, this is a deep running back class, especially in those windows. Round 3, round 4, round 5 is where you can find the best value. No, we are not going to see a first-round running back this year. Jonathan Brooks from Texas probably comes off the board somewhere in the 50s, depending on his recovery from the ACL injury that he suffered in November. He said this week he expects to be back for July 1st. He should be ready for training camp. But the running backs you see here, Estime, Allen, Benson Wright, those are third-round running backs who can come in and play a heavy role, whether it be as a tier 1 back like a Braylon Allen or Trey Benson in a downhill scheme, or somebody that can be a contributor in more of a rotation.
You know, for a long time, the approach was draft running back potentially early, like Saquon, and basically run him into the ground. I think where the league is going, and something that would work well now with this free agent group, is to draft a back later, maybe 3rd, 4th, 5th round, and then pick up a free agent on the cheap. I mean, I really thought it was smart of the Lions to sign David Montgomery, even though they were planning on drafting Gibbs. But an example that comes to mind is Miami with Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane, who was the 3rd rounder. To me, that's probably a better approach in terms of hedging your bets, counting on proven production, pass protection in a lot of cases, and you can have a backup in case someone gets injured.
Yeah, I mean, really what you're doing is you're just trying to maximize value, right? You know that one guy can't carry the load. I mean, even Derrick Henry had Tajay Spears this year. And that's how everyone's going to try and construct it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you're right. That veteran youth combination ultimately probably is a very smart way to go. But I think ultimately what general managers are concerned about the most is wear and tear. That's simple.
Well, and as you think about the current state of running backs in the NFL, this could be the second time in the last 3 drafts that a running back is not selected in the first round. It happened in 2022, of course, as we know.